everybody.
Hey, hey.
It's
Sandra.
and Andy.
And Bella. Oh, someone just woke up. She was in a deep snore. I so apologize. There she is.
Yes, from the SA Survival. And we're going to do some roundups of our trip, but I just want to give you some information. We are...
Bella has spoken. She is totally awake. We've been back for a few months. It's been very busy, hectic with work schedules and just life in general, and camping as much as we can in between work and that. So,
and editing.
Andy does that. I do my own thing. I let him do all that.
And we just want to explain that it might be a bit noisy in the background as you go through this video because the wind
We're camping again.
Yeah, we're camping. It is actually Christmas. It's the week before Christmas. We've got a lot of lights outside of the big trailer and the wind is blowing a little bit.
So we were actually going to do this outside, but it's so windy. We thought, actually we knew that the sound was just going to be deafening with the wind outside.
And I think it's like -2, something like that outside. So bear with us. So the recap of our trip. How did it go?
I didn't want to come home.
None of us wanted to come home, especially the last day. The good part was it was exciting right up to the night, the night before we drove home. Driving right up to Hudson Hope, Chetwynd, that was spectacular.
After that, it went downhill.
Downhill because we knew we were heading home. We have lots of experiences on our trip. It started off at Terrace. Terrace was amazing. It was a town that we did expect. It was a workers' town.
I would call it a workers' town. It's a hub for the truckers, railroad, that sort of thing, to go to wherever they need to offshoot and that. So it was very nice hooking up with a good friend.
The Skeena River, famous for its salmon and steelhead fishing. So lots of fishermen out there. But the drive to Prince Rupert.
Wow. The scenery, the landscaping. I wish that we had someone drive for us, because when someone's driving, you're focused on the road and the other one, oh yeah, look at this, look at that. Well, you can't, because some of those roads were so narrow, and I was like, ooh-wee, hang on, let's go.
Beautiful drive though, into where the rapids were, and then Prince Rupert was a beautiful town because it was sunny. A local said it rains like 360 days of the year, and we're like, well, this is a beautiful city, and they're like, yeah, you're lucky.
And talking to some of the locals that when we went for a lunch, beautiful lunch too, by the way, he said it just had rain for the last almost 100 and something days. He goes, not rain, pouring monsoon rain.
But we hit that bang on, which leads us into, before we carry on with that, our trip weather. The weather was perfect. August, sorry, I should say the last week of July, the first 2 weeks of August. We've done it twice now. We have had the best weather on both of those, right?
The only thing this year, and I know mosquitoes were extremely bad everywhere, all around, not just on our trip, even at home. They were really bad. So as we progressed farther up, I think they got bigger and bigger. The mosquitoes are almost like dragonfly size.
Yeah. We noticed that when we went to Fort James.
Fort James.
Fort James. I don't want to say Fort St. James. I think it's Fort James. That's when we really got eaten alive. That was another spur road. Beautiful. One way in, one way out. That town was really nice as well, and to see the fort was really good. I wish we could have.
And
seen
again,
the
some of these areas we wish we could stay 2 or 3 days to explore more and more, but we just, time again for us, we only had those 3 and a bit weeks.
Yeah. From there, Niscar, the lava fields, the lakes on the side of the road, that whole drive to Niscar was beautiful, wasn't it? The lava rocks, the field of destruction. And this is not to emphasize how the beautiful scenery was. We're not neglecting the fact that there was a lot of devastation and loss of life, but to see that destruction of how Mother Nature does her thing was unreal. It was one of the most eye-opening views that I have seen in a lot of the stuff that I've seen over my years of going on holiday with my mum, my sisters and brothers, or with Sandra.
And one thing with me, when I go into a visitor center, I just don't run in and grab something. I talk to the locals and they get me, hey, go here, go there. I want to learn as much as possible about these little tiny towns or the little areas. And then that's my drawback, because I'm learning more. I want to go back or I want to stay longer. That's my downfall, because this is what I like doing.
Nascar to Highway 37. That was our planned 50-kilometer gravel road. Be careful on that road. Very busy, logging roads. You've got lots of small cars that are locals that tear down there. It's new to you as a visitor. Be cautious on that road. Highway 37 was a nice drive. We wish we could have stayed at Kanaskan Provincial Park. I want to say if I got that right. We got there for 1 day. We planned to do 2 days. We got the paddleboard out. Sorry, we didn't get it. We took it with us to go on that lake specifically. And what happened?
It rained.
And what else?
Oh,
the mosquitoes.
Mosquitoes.
We got eaten and the rain started to come in, so we decided to make a quick plan. Do we want to carry on? We looked at the weather forecast. Apparently it was going to be a wet day. So we then pushed.
We pushed hard.
Yeah. Went to Jade City. Jade City is amazing to have a look at all that. If you've not seen the TV show, you get an idea of it. That is the little town right there.
It's cute. Perfect. It's very cute. And you have to go in. And there's always some type of jade that you will find that you fall in love with and you will bring home.
Watson Lake, again, we went down there, finished off that 22 to 25 kilometers that we not finished of the Alaska Highway, which we're glad that we did, because then we saw that there was a bit of an issue with our signposts. So we bought some stuff in Whitehorse to repair that. Then up to Teslin. Teslin's campground was a little bit disappointing. It was a Yukon park, but it was more of a, I don't know, people that wanted to stay in their RVs full time that were locals, not travelers. It was very busy. Wasn't the prettiest of
It changed the outlook of it.
I don't want to say bad things, because people are living in their vehicles full time and not traveling like this, or what you see on the internet. These are people that that's their sole livelihood. So it was a bit busy there, but then we carried on to Whitehorse. Whitehorse was fantastic. For 5 days base camping, it was nice. The campgrounds were inexpensive. I mean, that's the reason why we didn't do a lot of free camping, was because they were inexpensive. $18 a night with the pass.
With firewood. With
firewood. So create yourself a Yukon, not a passport, but username and password on their website, and you can then purchase online their campground fees, and you get $2 off of their $20, so $18 a night. This is where we hung out with Jeff as well. Jeff, amazing. We loved the fact that you came out to us.
And love your conversations. You're a blast.
Yes. Amazing conversations. And what I do like about what you say is you actually went to Sandra and wanted conversations with her with regards to aspects.
And it wasn't just with Andy. It wasn't always about him.
No, and I really like the fact that you grounded us that way.
And you told him off too. Thanks.
But the conversation was great about the trailer, his build, where we can go, what to see, history on the Yukon. That was great.
You're a book.
Yeah. The Trapper Man and all that stuff is.
And I did buy the books, by the way.
Yeah, bought both books. Then our trip to Atlin. Atlin town was an amazing. It's well worth the drive to Atlin. The beautiful portion at the beginning, the very beautiful portion at the very end. The bit in the middle is just an avenue with a road and trees. Good wildlife on the side.
And it's just little day trips, so that's why we stayed at Wolf Creek Campground in Whitehorse, and we did all these beautiful day trips. I didn't think about doing them. I thought they were like days away. They're only hours away. Like it was a full after breakfast and then we were gone. And then
Back by 6.
yeah, back by 6. So it wasn't like you're gone for a day and a half or 12, 14 hours. Beautiful day trips.
Next day was Carcross Sand Dunes. Oh, I loved that. Loved it. The dunes were way better than I anticipated. For the smallest desert in the world.
In the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. And as you're driving into Carcross, you actually see a little bit of the sand coming through the ground.
And it's that fine sand, and it goes everywhere. It goes everywhere.
Yeah. So Carcross was amazing. Going into the town was really cool. Looking at the
History.
the history of the train that comes up from Skagway and all that sort of thing. Looking at the Atlan Lake and looking at the steamboats that went up and down from Carcross to Atlan to trying to think where it came up to. I think it was started off in Carcross. Sorry, that's where it was. So the Atlan Lake sort of transportation hub. Then carrying on to Skagway. It was a trip that we weren't going to do. We were going to do. This was a big trip. And then Atlan came up. We did Atlan and then we came back and said, you know what, I'd still like to do Skagway.
Yeah.
There is a section from the log cabin sort of federal park down into Skagway, and the view, the scenery, the rock, the trees.
The lakes, just everything.
Was magnificent.
The one thing, it was starting to rain a bit.
And got foggy.
And got extremely foggy. Whoa, that was a little bit on edge getting down once you're starting to drop down, because you could not see the side of the road and extremely narrow. So I was like, okay, let's look down and let's look at Bella and hug puppy dog.
Yeah. Then we hung out in Whitehorse, did a bit of paddleboarding and stuff. Whitehorse was very beautiful. It's a hub town. So, and what I mean by that is by visitors and tourists. You get to see world travelers in Whitehorse. It's a start, I find, that you see these big rigs, the little rigs, the different trailers, the big trailers. Everybody, It looked like this year,
everyone was
the
out.
whole world, because COVID had ended and they'd been pent up for 2 years, they wanted out. So we saw a lot of travelers.
And one thing with COVID, unfortunately, with all these smaller communities, and talking to some of the shop owners, and they said it's such a struggle. And a lot of them, unfortunately, even in Whitehorse, the main strip in Whitehorse, they're not open anymore because it hasn't come back to the way it used to be. And unfortunately, a lot of them, they've had to close their doors because there's not enough locals or the tourists that shop these areas anymore, because it's been 2 years where, unfortunately...
We hope that they come back. We really do, because it does make the town very well.
Yeah.
What else was I going to say in there? The paddleboarding, communities, like you said. From there, we made a move then up to Dawson. Again, another trip that we were going to go to, then we backed out. We were actually going to go up to the Alaska border to Tok, to Chicken, and come in that way. But because of the fuel costs, we decided that we would go directly in and out the same way. So we went up through to Carmax, from Carmax to Dawson. Peel Wilderness Adventures, amazing. Like I said, if you get a chance to take a flight in a float plane on the Yukon River.
Very knowledgeable. I don't like flying. I don't care what size of plane I'm in. I don't. I was very comfortable. 1 or 2 little hiccups of a bump here and there, I was okay.
Float planes as well. She'd never been in a float plane, which was amazing. And then going around Tombstone and all of the mountains around there, absolutely fantastic trip. Well worth it if you can get to do that. Followed by our trip up to the top of the World Highway. It was a bit of a longer drive than anticipated, but we found that spot that I wanted.
And it had to be this one particular spot because we kept going off, and I'm like, what are we looking for? And I was being honest,
She was hungry as well.
I was hungry. It was past 7 o'clock, 7:30, 8 o'clock, and I'm like, I need food. It was getting, but then we found the magical spot.
And we both said it was the magical spot. Once we found it, we were like, this is it. We're not going any further. And it was beautiful. best campground or best campsite, I should say, of the whole trip. And that was because we were on our own. Beautiful landscapes.
It was just
skyscapes.
rolling hills. As we've showed you in previous videos. It was just, you could hear the wind blowing, the little birds, just nothing. And it wasn't the trucks, the trains, the noise. It was your own little world up there. I could stay like easily two or three nights up there. It was beautiful.
Then we did Diamond Tooth Girdies. What do you think of that?
Memories, in one word, memories.
Why?
Reason why, as a just growing up all my life, my mom and dad loved music. So listening to a lot of the music the ladies did sing, it was brought back memories of what my mom did and sung and stuff like that. So it was a very emotional night for me, but it was extremely well.
In character, in costume, in a frontier town, made it worth it. I don't know why we didn't know about this place when we went up in 19. We didn't know about it.
No.
Somebody mentioned the casino, then it snowballed, then Jeff mentioned about Diamond Tooth Girdies, and it just created
snowballed, and it just made that whole trip another wow factor.
Yeah, so worth the visit. Get in there.
A lot of laughs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Which led us coming home towards Whitehorse, and probably the best animal sighting that we saw on our trip. And you saw the excitement in my voice. I just let it go. I was a bit sweary. I apologize for that. But what did we see?
Wolves.
The wolves were awesome. Between 11 and 11:30, I think we stayed there for 30 minutes on the side of the road at that construction zone where they'd all gone home. To see them run across the road and the pups playing with each other, it was unreal.
Yeah.
It was, I had a sneaking suspicion that we would get to see a wolf. We've only ever seen one wild wolf in the past. That was in Squamish, BC, and we were camping there for pretty much the first time in this local area, and a wolf came out. But this was way better than that. Just to see 7 was awesome. From there back into Whitehorse, basically, other than the nosebleed, which you've seen, I'm not going to go into that. We sort of rested, got to see some more local sites, hung out with Jeff again.
We were a day late leaving due to the medical situation, but they wanted us to stay longer, but we couldn't.
Yeah. Hung out with Jeff again. Amazing stories, amazing conversations. Finally departed. We didn't want to. We did find out, though, that we can maybe do the Aurora Borealis by plane.
Quiet.
We might do
No,
that.
quiet. He cannot talk about it.
We don't know. From there, we drove down to Watson to repair our signpost, and we had a great experience there. It's well worth a stop. You can spend hours just looking at all the different signs. Even if you've seen people going to Watson Lake, it's neat trying to find their signposts, right? And just saying, oh, I've seen that one, or I've seen that one. And the amount of groups that go up there and stuff like that. The visitor center got free Wi-Fi. And once you get their Wi-Fi password, it's good for all the visitor centers in the Yukon. And you've got some information about them as well.
One thing I, on this trip, learned, again, talking to the locals again in there, and just reading the history that how the signpost got started, which we did explain anyways. They have a small gym, and it's for the locals, but you could pay actually $5, use their facilities, as well as not just their gym, is use their shower facilities. So for $5, and then you could get your fuel, your snacks, and hit the road again, or if you're having a rest over or whatever, you could get fully
big parking
clean,
lot there.
huge parking lot. It's massive. For $5, it's well worth it. And she said there's a lot of areas that tourists don't know.
Yeah.
You're trying to find lakes, you're trying to find this. There it's proper, and if you want to do a little bit of a workout, it's there as well. Then
down to Liard. Got to see the buffalo, the bison on the side of the road. If you don't get to see them, I feel sad for you. We've seen them both times. There's 50 plus buffalo bison, however you want to say it, on the side of the road. You just got to be careful when to pass them, just in case.
Because some of them don't move for you. You have to wait for them to move, so
Yeah.
you might as well shut the engine off and chill out and
Yeah.
wait.
Amazing. Liard, great for us for, it's like a 2-night? No, 1 night.
1 night.
1 night. We get there sort of mid-afternoon, late afternoon, go for a swim, come back, and then in the morning, go for a morning swim as well. One thing that's changed, they had that whole electric fence around the campground this time. It looks like something happened in COVID.
Yeah, during COVID, I talked to the main gentleman who does all their maintenance and asked, why, and explained the reason. Well, we up there 2019, they didn't have it, and they said they've had a lot of safety concerns with bears coming onto the campsites, and they won't shoot them, they'll chase them away, so they're trying to be
conservation,
yes,
proactive. Right?
Yeah,
So,
and unfortunately, a lot of it, he said, it's not due to them just doing it. It's humans, unfortunately, leaving their garbages out and all their barbecue
scent.
stuff.
a lot of scent for them. To
Yeah,
come in
so
towards the camp.
even though they are asked and told when they enter that they can't, do certain things, you'll get that. It doesn't matter what campground you're at, unfortunately. So for the safety of the public, they've had to put this electric fence around, and he patrols it. He said 3-4 times a day just to make sure there's no issues or bears got in somewhere.
And
But
what did you see on the boardwalk?
on the boardwalk this time, it was so exciting, was a mom, the moose, and her calf.
Yeah.
And we were just walking, and all of a sudden it's like, stop, and it was right there. And it wasn't like a mile or a kilometer away. It was right there. And I'm like, do I keep walking? Do we stop? Whatever. But it was just so
Cool.
They weren't scared of us because that's their home. So as long as you don't do anything, just stand there, take photos, watch them, how they move. Fantastic.
Yeah, so that was good. From there, we headed then into Muncho Lake. Muncho Lake is well worth a stop. There is the lodge there. But
Beautiful
the
lake.
Yeah, the lake is
The
amazing.
colors. Yeah.
Lots of wildlife. More of the goat animal
Mountain goats, yeah.
variety. Bighorn sheep, goats. We saw a caribou, a moose. Drove then into Stone Mountain. Stone Mountain was worth the 2 to 3 nights that we stopped there for sure. BC Provincial Park at that point, so we've come out of the Yukon. Bella enjoyed her walk up Stone Mountain. It was getting a little bit tricky at the end. The reason why, other than our health, we watched out for her pads, because we do have boots for her, but the rock was becoming, it sort of
So
went from
shale,
dirt.
it was just breaking off in slivers, and it was more of the rock going up, and a chunk would just fall off, which a few times I would be climbing up and it would fall underneath my feet, so you're sliding backwards. So with Bella wearing her boots, she doesn't have that grip with her claws, and it was getting dangerous, so we sort of stopped, had a snack. We called it to say, hey, unfortunately we didn't make that final last hour.
Yeah,
We're
last
almost
hour.
there, but by looking at it, it was going to be too dangerous, and it was going to get steeper, and we thought we still have to come back down. So
Yeah, we didn't push her, and she would actually stop and then
wait for us.
Velcro herself to my leg because she knew that it was a challenge, and she had a harness on so I can lift her up and pass her down to the lower level. From there, we then started to go
Head home.
Yeah, back towards Hudson Hope. The fuel, we did not do what we planned to do this time, and that was refuel every half tank. We let it run a bit lower because we had a big... So having a 130 litre fuel tank on Fredda's dock helped us out a lot, so we could actually go further. And this time we didn't abide by our 50% fuel tank theory because we knew where the stops were. We would run it down quite low to about a quarter tank. And again, if we saw fuel cheap, we saw a couple of times fuel was real cheap, even though we only used a quarter tank. We actually turned in and refueled, didn't we?
Yeah.
Because it was better to have that extra fuel for free than to buy expensive elsewhere. Other cons, flies, a lot of flies this year.
Mosquitoes, big, huge, killer mosquitoes, no lie. I felt like a cyclops. It was awful. 3 bites. Terrible. And there's nothing, almost nothing you could use to stop them because they're still going to bite you. It doesn't matter how much crap you put all over your body. Even poor Bella.
Yeah, mosquito tent worked well. We actually never nearly bought it. And we changed the whole theory of our mosquito tent around and bought the big soccer tent. And that was a saving grace. It really was.
I must admit there is one product, what was it called? The spray for the, you put on the bushes. I can't think of it. I'm having a moment. You spray
It was in the Stone Mountain video.
So you spray it all around, and I sprayed it on the zipper, and that helped out immensely.
And then these coils, I forget the name of the company, you can get mosquito coils that are normally green. Again, Jeff told us about these black ones. They were stronger in the smell that they give off. They did work.
Yes.
Really did work.
Yeah. So thank you, Jeff.
Yeah. Other cons that we came across. The trailer was great, didn't have a problem. Other than the campsites and not enough time. Again, 3 weeks is just not enough time. I don't really think there was that many cons. Pros, there was lots of pros. The camping was good.
The weather.
The weather was good. Again, that last week of July, first 2 of August, and I can only speak for us because we've been twice at the same time, the weather has been good. We had 1 or 2 days of rain or sort of drizzle rain, but other than that, it was amazing weather. The trailer worked out really well. The awning worked out well. The adaptation of the fly screen, whether it was in the pop-up tent or on the actual awning, was really good. The inverter, if you haven't seen my inverter videos, have a look at the inverter videos on Fred. I think I did 3 episodes of that. That 2 kilowatt inverter on the truck really worked out well. Helped us with the batteries, even if we had to take a small battery charger with us, run that to charge the batteries up on the trailer. And that's because we were sitting still for a couple of days and the solar was not really picking up a lot of solar, even though the weather was good. We had that one day where the batteries died, but with the battery charger and the truck, no problem. We're not big generator people. Yes, the 2 kilowatt inverter system is a generator, but I'm not a big carrier generator and pull starter
and
generator.
that's just us. That's just us.
We've invested in solar and this truck with the 2 kilowatt system. So that's the reason. So that system and the fridge worked amazingly. Everything else, pros. It's just the whole
It's endless. It's just the locals, the little community towns, because you just ask questions and they're like, they have no problem about having a great conversation with you.
I lost my temper, as in it dissipated and disappeared the further north we went. It didn't have that city attitude that I have when people are driving, this, that, and the other. It was peaceful, relaxing. People were welcoming. You could have conversations with them. Absolutely
just
wonderful.
From going in to like get your coffee or your tea at a Tim Hortons or a McDonald's or a little cafe or a bakery, everyone is like, hi, how you doing? It doesn't matter if you're from the big city or you live up there. Everyone wants to talk to you.
Yeah,
and
where have you come from? Where are you going? Oh, let me help you with a piece of advice. Don't go here, do go there. Or if you're going to go there, do this. You know, you're right. It was people were so welcoming. So that was a roundup of our trip, really. I don't think there was any issues. Bella could come with us everywhere she went. She was only confined to the vehicle if we wanted to go into a store that didn't welcome dogs. But other than that, she went everywhere that we went. There were leash laws, which is normal, which were fine. She's okay with that. We have a 25-foot leash and we have handheld leashes.
But even if we're hiking, we try and keep her on a leash because you never know what type of little wildlife is out there, just anything. So for her safety as well as the wildlife, we trying to keep her close by with us.
So she had fun. Again, her health was really good this time. As you saw her in Stone Mountain, she was Billy Goat Bella.
And who would have thought she's had 2 ACLs done? Like, go figure, right?
Yeah. I think, really, I don't think I have much more to say. And if you've got any questions at all, please drop them in the comments box. We will respond to you and get back. It was an amazing trip, well worth it. Yes, Jeff, we are trying
Thinking about when to come back. Close your ears. I just love it up that whole area. There's so much to explore in BC. It's like the bucket list, and my bucket list is, unfortunately, it's what I would like to do. And I know Andy likes to go and explore, because there will be one day where we can't do these long drives. So we're trying to take it as much as possible. Like with my health, little hiccups here and there right now, we're trying to resolve it. But unfortunately, it's areas that I would love to explore. And I'm hoping that we could keep on going and sharing our moments with everyone.
We're looking forward to Jeff coming down too in his trailer. His trailer build is looking amazing.
I'm jealous.
Very jealous. Oasis is an amazing trailer. Jeff has sort of worked around lots of different ideas on that teardrop, stealthy looking trailer design, and he's sort of taken it to that next level, and that trailer is coming really well. We're looking forward to you coming down south and meeting up with you. Spoiler alert for next year, 2023, it looks like we're going to do the US. We're going to go down south. We have a trip planned. We're going to more on that later and later in the year. We're in the planning stages of that. And that, we want to thank you for coming along on our trip,
on our journeys
to the Yukon this year, and staying with us. And thank you very much. Like I said, please hit that like button if you liked it. Thumbs up.
and let us know where we can improve, just anything if you like it, or hey, you know what, you guys need to fix this, do that.
Well, one of the improvements of these microphones,
It's somewhere.
we got these
Little furry things.
yeah, so we invested in a microphone system. We would love to try it out in the truck, because we know that you get a lot of tire noise from the General Grabber X3s that I have on board. That has been a comment. You know, we get a lot of tire drone, and we're hoping to fix that with these guys, and we're hoping it just works
And I'm
out.
not one to do all this social media stuff. I'm very, do we have to post it? Do we have to do this? I'm very the opposite of what Andy does. He's very into all this, where it's like, I'm getting there. It's just a me thing. I'm very private that way. Do we have to show the world where we're going and what we're doing, you know, daily, you know? But that's just a me thing.
It is, but she does well when she speaks and she gets on with it, and the cameras. At the end of our trip, that was another con actually. We have a Sony Action Cam, which is similar to the GoPro. I'm not a big GoPro fan, but our Sony Action Cam actually failed towards the end of our journey. That's why you saw a lot of bouncing and moving around, because we were doing a lot of iPhone, iPad videoing, and so that's why the microphone started.
And that
to
was a
change.
me thing, because I had to hold and do my best
Yeah.
of going over all this heavy duty construction, site roads, you know,
And
different things like that.
we didn't notice the microphone issue until the last edit.
So sorry.
Yeah, so we apologize for that, and that was another reason for investing in these microphones as well, so that we can have them on us and we get better clarity out to you. So that's an upsell to us. Other than that, again, thank you very much for watching us and our trips and our travels, and we hope that you will carry on watching us as we move into different trips in the future.
So Bella and Sandra
And me
and Andy,
would like to say thank you very much. Survive to be alive, and we'll see you next time.
bye for now.
Bye.
Bye, Bella.